Anthem 4, Blessed is the Man. Welcome to Anthem 4 in my attempt to write a new choir anthem every week for a year. I'm Kevin Mulrine, and I hope you'll enjoy listening to my progress throughout 2024. Please do visit the website, anthem52.com, follow along on x.com at realanthem52 or Instagram at realanthem52, and send me a message to show@anthem52.com. This has been an unusual week in a number of ways. Firstly, I wrote 2 new anthems, and I'll explain that in a minute. I've also been unwell, you might be able to hear it in my voice, and off work with a nasty cold, but fortunately there were no choral services at Holy Trinity Church this weekend, which gave me a bit of recuperation time. The reason I wrote an extra anthem was because I've entered the Isaac Watts composition competition on the 350th anniversary of his birth. I didn't realise that I, and probably you as well, know a lot of his work before stumbling upon this competition. Watts wrote perennial classic hymn words such as O God, our help in ages past, Joy to the World, and When I Survey the Wondrous Cross, amongst many others. In fact, you can find a list of no fewer than 824 hymns written by Watts on the internet. The anthems submitted to the competition need to set a text by Watts, as you'd imagine, and I chose Come Holy Spirit, Heavenly Dove, published in Hymns and Sacred Songs 1707 to 1709, Book 2. I can't play what I came up with here because if my anthem wins first or second place, however unlikely, the world premiere will be in a central Southampton church in the autumn. The closing date isn't until April, so I'm in good time. As this was the first anthem I've ever had to perfect, I asked my wife Sarah, as well as my children Charlotte and Edward, to take a look at the score and listen to the still dreadful MIDI playthrough of it. Although they liked what I'd done, Charlotte was concerned, rightly, that I had repeated a lot of the material too often. I appreciated her comments, decided to remove some of the repeats and add more to the contrasting section in the middle of the piece. I was much happier with the finished anthem, so many thanks to Charlotte for the helpful feedback. As soon as I know the anthem hasn't won, I'll release it here for you to appreciate why it was unsuccessful. Anyway, back to Anthem 4. As I said last week, I was going to try something a little darker than last week's irrepressibly cheerful piece. I did try. However, I was reminded of a report I once read which said that actors who played characters suffering from mental illness were prone to it themselves. You can understand why. If you act like you're experiencing symptoms for 3 hours every night, it surely must affect you. I'm not likening my little composition efforts to someone playing King Lear every day. That would be disingenuous. But when I tried to use words from a random psalm about suffering and asking for forgiveness, the music I came up with made me feel bad when I was working on it. I now know that I was getting sick at the time, so I think that had a lot more to do with it than the music itself. But I had to abandon that anthem completely. Instead, I opted for some verses from Psalm 65, or LXV, in Roman numerals. Here they are. Blessed is the man whom thou choosest and receivest unto thee. He shall dwell in thy court, and shall be satisfied with the pleasures of your house, even of thy holy temple. Thou shalt show us wonderful things in thy righteousness, O God of our salvation, thou that art the hope of all the ends of the earth, and of them that remain in the broad sea. For whatever reason, writing music for these words was a lot easier. Initially, I wasn't really content with the kind of music it turned into, but I think I need to go with the flow more, as they say. Not every one of the 52 anthems can be groundbreaking and original, or any for that matter. So I need to abandon, finally, my teenage ideal of only creating challenging art. There is a place for that, but anthems capable of being sung at a standard church service by an ordinary parish choir, and there's absolutely no offence intended, as I am a member of one of those, can't all be breaking new ground. That's okay. In fact, 52 approachable anthems would be fantastic, if you ask me. When I was considering the middle section of the pieces, I did actually come across some unusual and interesting harmonies, so I hope you enjoy those. This anthem is for unaccompanied choir again, and I've created the run-through demo with Logic 10, because it's the organ sound which is really holding me up on that side. Does this sound better than the MuseScore versions of previous weeks? Let me know what you think. As always, it's probably easier to see and hear what's going on in this anthem by watching the YouTube video embedded into the show notes for this week over at anthem52.com. What do you think? Let me know on x.com at realanthem52, new this week Instagram at realanthem52, as a comment in the show notes for this week at anthem52.com, or via email show@anthem52.com. I didn't manage to get my first mystery guest onto this week's episode, but hope to next week when I'm fully recovered, hopefully, from the annoying illness. I hope you will join me next week for a new episode and a new anthem, only 48 to go. But until then, the question remains, will I make it to Anthem 52?